Hello everyone, our business idea is called IV Sight Savers, and today we'd like to show you all about how our business idea can benefit both the patients and the practitioners in the health industry. First, I'd like to discuss the problems which resulted in us developing this idea. We have the fear of needles can be found in people of all age ranges. Traditionally, you think of just small children who are afraid of needles, but really people have this fear, middle-aged people, elderly people as well. So there's a really wide target audience for that we need to solve the problem of a fear of needles with. We also, as a result of the fear of needles, patients often disrupt their IV or even rip it out, and this can both harm the patient and it can also waste valuable time and resources of the nurses who have to reinsert the IV correctly and make sure that it's not disrupted or ripped out again. So it's incredibly important that this issue gets resolved to save both time and resources. I will now hand the presentation over to Courtney, who will discuss the opportunities which have resulted from these problems.
Hello. So we've chosen the age group of 7 and under for our target population due to their stage of development. Sort of goes along the lines with peekaboo with a child, out of sight, out of mind. We also want to expand eventually, once we have success with the pediatric population, to those with dementia, intellectual disabilities, or even those with just anxiety. And also regionally, we'd like to take over that area first, eventually expanding nationally and potentially even internationally. And that would be done through, in Massachusetts we have so many hospital networks that we can get into one hospital and then use their resources that are already present to move our way one location to another and hopefully gain access to a different network. We also, so there is a current product right now on the market that targets the same issue of IV sites being pulled out and disrupted. The issue with that right now is that they're using Velcro to secure and close the product, which is very disruptive for children. They sleep at night, many of them nap during the day, but these nurses have to go in, check the IV site regularly, which is very disruptive to both the patient and the parent. At the same time, the Velcro can also be very sensitive to the skin, scratching, and also can attach to blankets or other clothing, which can also be somewhat of a safety issue. I'm going to hand it over to Julia to continue.
So instead of using Velcro, our product would use a buckle, kind of like the buckles you see on backpacks. So it's much less disruptive, it's quieter, and it's easier to assess. And we don't lose anything by switching from Velcro to the buckles. We still are able to adjust the size of the protection device with straps, again, like you see on a backpack. And like Courtney mentioned before, this reaches so many different people at developmental levels, the children at developmental levels, people with anxiety, and it reduces that anxiety in hospitalized patients, and it protects the IV, which saves us time and saves us money and saves us resources.
In order to make our idea a reality, we need the support of the DifferenceMaker program, both the support that the staff here can provide us with and the financial support of making it through the Idea Challenge. We'd like to use these funds to do in-depth research regarding our product. We'd like to do surveys at hospitals and as well with patients. We'd also like to create a prototype of our idea to give a visual, to give an easy to see visual idea to future partners. And we'd also like to research manufacturing partners to work with in order to produce our product on a large scale. We also have the potential to work with the Boston Children's Hospital, who has offered to team us up with their entrepreneurship team and innovation.
We have 1 minute left.
Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Well, since you don't already have a prototype, so you said you've already talked to the Children's Hospital, so obviously you've shared this information with them, and they were interested?
Yeah, yes. I I am currently precepting there. It's like my internship, and we have their device. It's called Welcome Sleeve, and that uses the Velcro. And we just, as nurses and the people I work with there, we've all talked about how it's incredibly annoying, and when you try to like rip it open, it's pulling on the kids' arms. And so I mentioned this to them, and they thought it was a good idea. We talked to the nurse manager, and they actually have a similar project to DifferenceMaker going on there. And she said that she was going to talk to the innovation team, and maybe we could collaborate and work together to figure something out.
Have you looked at anything from a reimbursement perspective and how it would fit into that mix? No?
We're in the early stages with talking to them, so we
Yep.
haven't reached that point.
Okay.
So this is more a product that's going to be used in the hospital. It's not necessarily going to be used for patients outside of a hospital. So it's essentially a hospital supply, if you will, yes?
Right, you wouldn't find this at like a CVS.
It does have the potential to go to home care use. Yeah, so there are going to be kids at home on IVs that need IV medications that
Okay.
you could use it for there too, but we hadn't.
But it would move with them from the hospital to the home, essentially. You wouldn't be directly trying to
Right.
sell this to someone in a home.
Exactly.
Yeah, the ID would be in from the time that they're in the hospital.
Yes.
So the way I see this product, this is probably more like a medical supply company that comes and outfits hospitals. So that's when they bring in custom packs, burn kits, so that this might be something that they carry and sell to the hospital. I think that might be more than that would be hospital to hospital.
Okay.
Now, you focus just on pediatric right now, is that what you think?
Right now, that's our focus, but like we said, you can reach so many other people with fear of IVs or anxiety towards it.
Have you looked into any of these buckles? Because I have backpacks, some of them are loud when they click. and
You
some
can
of them-
manipulate the noise, so we practice. I wish I should have brought my backpack in. So we were thinking of that too, but you can manipulate the noise just by putting your fingers like over that airspace, and then it doesn't make that loud click.
Backpack type belt is the same type of thing we're currently thinking of. It would be smaller than what you typically find on a backpack.
Yep.
So that in of itself reduces the amount of noise that could develop from opening it. But again, you can slowly clamp it as you open it. And a problem with Velcro is if you like just rip it open, it can really disrupt the patient, especially if they're sleeping. So that's why we've opted to switch the belt. We feel like it's a better solution to open the IV site.
Have you thought about the difficulty, I mean, you guys are young, but if you've ever tried to dress a 3 to 7 year old, they thrash, they move around a lot. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking Velcro snaps real quick and get them down. To try to put a buckle and then tighten it might be a little more effort. I mean, I don't know if you've thought about some of those issues around, where it is better with a buckle versus Velcro. And is that something that a hospital might think it's strong enough a difference to want to choose your product over what they've used all along?
It was definitely enough to get the nurses' attention at Boston Children's, and I work with that Velcro daily, and it is a pain on thrashing kids.
Okay.
It's like Courtney said, you're opening up that IV site, and they don't want to see it. They don't want you to touch them. They're in pain, and they're thrashing that arm around. That Velcro is getting stuck to the blanket. They're moving their arm. That quick pinch and release, or that quick pinch and snap again, is going to be much more efficient than the Velcro that sticks to everything but where you want it to stick.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We also plan to only have 2 very small buckles with adjustable straps to attach it, so it's going to be a very quick process to attach to a patient.
So you talked about thinking about the money that you might get to help move forward, and part of what you talked about is talking with a potential manufacturer as a partner. You might have talked about it, but I don't recall talking about thinking about any patent position on the product. Have you thought about before you move forward with trying to get partners, about making sure you have some kind of patent position or some patent for the product?
Everything we've looked into so far indicates that the idea is too broad for one company to establish a patent on the entire idea, and so all of the research we've done at this point leads us to feel very confident that we're not going to run into legal problems with patents.
And what kind of margin do you think you can make on something like this?
We believe it's going to be a relatively small margin per unit. However, the ability to expand from hospital to hospital by creating a network with hospital chains and also expand globally is going to really help overcome this margin because we'll be selling in bulk.
Okay.
When you say market research, are you looking to do, do you have any thoughts on what you would do there or what you'd look at?
Well, we need to see what the patients themselves think of this idea. We need to get more, even though we've already talked to the workers at hospitals, we'd like to do more, get feedback, and further develop the idea. We'd also like to figure out how we'd like to start building up our network, what hospitals to start with, how can we move from there.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You guys are great, thank you.